Hey, good morning. Uh, Dr. Phillips here, ENC 1101, in my man cave that is in my garage, no longer in the house due to too many babies. A welcome sacrifice, I'm sure some of you can understand. And here to talk to you today about the first story in our 75 Readings Plus book. Kind of looks like this. There you go, with the acorn on the cover, the seed of knowledge, if you will, symbolized by the tree. We'll get into that sometime. But we're going to talk about George Orwell's Shooting an Elephant. And first thing we want to do is think about the title. If it's called Shooting an Elephant, probably has something to do with an elephant getting shot, if we're going to take it literally. Could be metaphor for something else, an elephant being, of course, something very big, very gray, perhaps, or it could be literal. So we'll see what it is. One thing we want to do before engaging the narrative, the short story essay, if you will, is look at the vocabulary. And I've done a little bit of pre-research for you so that you won't have to, but on other selections we may do this research together. A note before we get too further: I'm going to stop the recording after 10 minutes. Each 10-minute segment I will then upload, so you should be able to see this via YouTube links, but I'll title them into the various segments as well. Doing this so that I don't record for 30 minutes and lose everything, as that has happened in the past, unfortunately, via my cheap recording software. So bear with me on that. Also, I'm going to throw a special super secret extra credit word in on one of these videos that you can actually get a 10-point bonus just for typing into an answer box, as you'll see in your online course or in your face-to-face course. So if you're watching all these videos and you get that nugget, more power to you. So, all right. So listen for that. But after 10 minutes, we'll stop. Excuse me. I've got my coffee here and nose hair and everything else. Let's look at the vocabulary. We see one word. Vocabulary is usually highlighted right at the beginning of the story. There we are. Right here with perplexing. Perplexing, if you look that up, is probably going to have something to do with being confusing. Supplant, usually to take someone else's spot. Secula, secularum. Typically, in Latin, it means for all time. So if you are thinking that something is secula secularum, you're thinking things aren't going to change. The status quo isn't going to change. We have that attitude in life sometimes. Prostrate, pinned down. Basically, your front of your body is wide open for anybody to, harm you, take advantage of you. In terrorum, if you are doing something out of fear, in terrorum. Must, you see in quotations. We're going to figure out what that means as regards the short story. Mahout. A mahout is someone who handles an elephant, as it turns out. So, and that is how you pronounce it, mahout. And so this is an elephant handler. A labyrinth, of course, a maze. Squalid usually has something to do with being poor, very poor. Dravidian. A Dravidian is a term for someone who lives in southern India. Here we are in Burma in this story, so a Dravidian from southern India. A coolie, typically someone who is almost slave-like, unfortunately, someone who works for very little pay, someone who is just trying to get by, just barely, very poor. A paddy, that's actually an ethnic slur, as it were. Paddy for a patty, if you will, someone of Irish descent. And with George Orwell in this story being an English soldier when the British Empire was starting its decline, but certainly very powerful, controlling Lower Burma, and of course looking differently from everyone else. unfortunately, he was subject to this kind of ethnic slur. If you've ever been in a situation where you physically looked, skin or otherwise, differently from everyone else, you may have experienced, unfortunately, some ridicule. People are mean. I didn't really experience mean ridicule, but I had spent 2 months in Guyana when I was 17, and if you know what Guyanese typically look like, I stood out like a sore thumb, to use a simile. So, there were a few things that were said or alluded to because I looked so different and was so different as this tall, skinny young American. But it wasn't hateful in any way. I was very fortunate in that situation. Guyanese are very kind people. And then you see the word futility. Futility, typically we get from Star Trek, resistance is futile. It's useless to resist, or it's useless or pointless to try, right? And then DAHS, D-A-H-S, it's a type of sword, a type of knife, saber, if you will, that I believe George Orwell's going to have on him during this story. So let's jump into the story just after we look at the bio on page 2, and not Roman numeral 2, but page 2 of your 75 Readings Plus book. The bio says George Orwell is the pseudonym of Eric Blair, so a name he wrote under, just like Mark Twain is the pseudonym for Samuel Clemens, right? Born in India, where his father served in the British colonial government, Orwell was educated at Eton, famous college. As a young man, he served as a British policeman in Burma, the setting for this selection. Later, he was wounded while fighting for the Loyalists in the Spanish Civil War, about which he wrote in homage to Catalonia. Orwell despised the Big Brother mentalities of both the fascists and the communists who backed opposing sides in that war. You see Big Brother on television. You hear the term Big Brother. Big Brother is watching. Orwell's responsible for that. What's Big Brother on TV? Well, cameras everywhere, looking and watching everyone's every move. Well, in Orwell's view, that's what the world would be coming to, and he wrote a famous novel about that. And maybe we'll hear what the title of that novel is here in the future. Hint, hint. But yeah, he coined the term Big Brother. However, he also condemned the crass bureaucracy of the democratic governments of his time. In short, Orwell became an enemy of politics and politicians in general. He's remembered for Animal Farm and 1984, classics of political satire, and for his many essays. Shooting an Elephant is at once an indictment of colonialism, a discourse on the clash of cultures, and a brutal self-examination of individual conscience. And we begin, paragraph 1. In Momine, Lower Burma, and you do put the pronunciation, the accent on the second syllable, Momine, he says, I was hated by large numbers of people. What a terrible way to start out the story here. I can't imagine what it'd feel like to be hated by large numbers of people. Maybe I am, but I've never experienced that. Quite the contrary. So, gosh, he's got to be feeling awful. But you notice that's also his thesis for this first paragraph. He says he was hated by large numbers of people. Now, if you have a thesis, which is an argument, which is an opinion, you got to support it. You have to give some specifics as to why you're professing you were hated by large numbers of people. So hopefully the rest of the paragraph will detail that. This is the end of part 1. Come on back for part 2 of our analysis of Orwell's Shooting an Elephant.